Everyone is watching news right now, hoping for an overnight stock market crash and an investment opportunity that is not going to show up. Well, this war is a distraction. The real wealth destruction happening right now is not going to come in the form of a crash. It is happening as we talk. It is a slow and quiet bleed that is going to bleed out your portfolios. While global superpowers are locking in horns, supply chains are slowly breaking down. And with that, so is your portfolio. The cash sitting in your account or in your portfolio is losing value every single day. And if you're waiting for the government to step in like they did a few years ago, well, that, my friends, is not going to happen. That is why today I am going to give you the exact blueprint for investing in the time of war. We're going to be talking about 3 war-proof assets that billionaires are acquiring while you and me sit with our cash in banks. So if you want to build some real wealth, then this, my friends, is a great opportunity. Welcome back to Keeping Up with Crypto. Look, I know I usually talk about AI, emerging technology, Web3, crypto, but these are different times. We are officially in the time of wars. And I'm not going to lie, for a moment there, I thought we're officially in World War III. But none of that matters right now, because right now we have a really important issue at hand, which is talking about your portfolio and wealth creation that could last generations. The rules of investing, my friends, have changed. And if you're still playing by the 2010 playbook, then you're doing it completely wrong. You have to unlearn what you were taught in the 2000s, because the 2026 roadmap for investing is completely different. Let's first talk about what's actually happening to your money as a war goes on in one part of the world. And let's forget the complicated stock market charts. Let's start from the basics. Look at your grocery bills. Just go to a fuel station and look at the price of oil, petrol. It's going through the roof. And this, my friends, is the true bleed that we're facing in the economy. I know a lot of you might say that why does it matter to you? You don't even drive a car and fuel prices don't really bother you. But if fuel rises, then so does the cost of operating in an economy. Everything that we need to keep an economy functioning is at the moment running at a much expensive rate than it was a few months ago. When fuel prices rise, the cost of growing food, manufacturing them, and shipping them to your doorstep, all of them explode. Inflation is no longer a buzzword, it is the reality. And while you don't even realize, your rental, your expenses, your grocery, everything is rising while your pay slips remain the same. To be honest, you are actually getting poorer by the day without even spending a dime. In the past, financial advisors would tell you to keep a 60-40 portfolio, where you'd essentially allocate 60% of your portfolio to safer assets and about 40% to government bonds. But right now, the stock market is a zombie. Well, companies cannot hit their profit targets if their supply chains are broken. And bonds are just IOUs of the government. Why would you lend your money to the government at a 4% return when there's a 10% increment that's happening in your rental as well as all other living expenses by the day? By following the traditional method, you are guaranteeing yourself a big loss. A lot of people think that in 2020, when COVID struck, the stock market crashed and it came right back up. And why not wait for a similar scenario? But that, my friends, is not going to happen. You need to understand why this is completely different from 2020. In 2020, the world came to a pause and governments started printing a lot of money, pumping that into the economy and bringing the stock market right back up. But they can't do it today. If central governments start printing a lot of money now, then they're going to trigger hyperinflation. The money printer is broken and the safety net you grew up with is no longer there. The governments are trapped, and if you keep your money with the government, then your money is officially trapped too. So if cash is dying and stocks are stagnant, then where do you invest, right? For that, we have to think, where does smart money goes? And smart money essentially means all the institutions, the big billionaires, millionaires, where are they investing? Because trust me, they are not booking losses at this moment. Currently, smart money is going into assets that are not manipulated or controlled by any governments and are basically borderless. Real assets cannot be printed. Real assets are what gain value with time and not lose value with time. Let us talk about the top 3 assets that you need to be accumulating right now. The first survival asset is the oldest form of money known to humankind, and that, you guessed it rightly, is gold. There is a reason why central banks of almost all the countries are quietly buying gold and accumulating for the last 1 year. They knew the war was coming, and gold is the ultimate fear trade. When global systems break down, you cannot trust a CEO's judgment or what the governments are deciding. You have to go by something that is universal, that is tangible, and that hasn't changed for centuries, and that is gold. Gold is your baseline insurance policy against human incompetence. But let's be realistic. While gold is incredible for preserving wealth, it has a lot of flaws if we look at our current digital world. In fact, not a lot of people carry gold bars anymore. Most of the people are investing in ETFs. And the paper gold is actually heavily manipulated by the governments and banks. Plus, if things go really bad and you have to move, how are you going to carry kilos of gold when all that matters is survival? Gold sure plays defense, and it is one of the top assets that I would recommend to anyone who wants to build a war-proof portfolio. But gold still isn't the ultimate asset that is going to change your life for good. Now that brings us to the second asset, the second war-proof asset, which is silver. I know that a lot of people ignore silver, and despite the recent rally that silver price saw, the rally and then the decline, there is a lot of uncertainty around silver. But it is a fascinating asset. It plays 2 roles. It is a precious metal, which makes it a safe haven, but silver is also a hypercritical industrial material. You literally cannot build electric vehicles, solar panels, medical machines, or military electronics without it. When conflict breaks out, the need for military equipments and tech all spikes, and so does manufacturing. Silver is something that is going to be used despite a war or not. What silver does is it gives you a perfect safe haven while also giving you competitive price action in the stock market. Gold and silver are great, but gold and silver still are Web 1 assets in a Web 3 world. They are heavy, hard, difficult to store or even transact globally. But what happens when you actually take the absolute scarcity of gold and combine it with the speed of the internet? Well, then you get asset number 3. Now the third, and frankly speaking, one of the most important assets of our times has to be Bitcoin. Listen to me closely. When traditional banking systems freeze and you're potentially logged out of your bank account, what is one thing that you can still access? Of course, it's gold and silver, but Bitcoin is one asset that is not controlled by any government or banks. It requires no bank, no middleman, no government, and is not even confiscatable. Bitcoin truly is the first and probably the only borderless asset that we can trust in the times of war. While traditional stock market bleeds, and so does almost everyone's portfolios, Wall Street and your typical millionaires and billionaires are waking up to the reality of Bitcoin. And that's probably why they're making a lot more money than your average Tom, Dick and Harry. When the world is forced to devalue paper money and pay for war, Bitcoin sits completely away from this chaos. That is why BlackRock and Larry Fink and multiple millionaires and billionaires are still stacking BTC. They aren't treating it like a tech stock, they're actually treating it like real gold or digital gold. The hardest part about this transition isn't the tech, it is your psychology. With Bitcoin and the current volatility in the price action of a lot of cryptocurrencies, a lot of traders look at red bars on their charts and instantly panic. They either want to sell, or when they see a lot of greens, they usually try to buy, and that is the exact opposite of what you should be doing. We're living through the greatest shift in modern history in terms of tech and finance. We're already seeing AI take over almost all the big, small jobs. And now we're gonna witness a massive change in terms of traditional finance. The people who will get wiped out and whose portfolios are going to go in a complete loss are the ones who've kept their money in traditional finance assets like the stock market or your regular old bonds. But people who actually have the nerve to go ahead and do something smart, they are going to be the ones making history. To build generational wealth, what you truly would need, especially in these times of war, would be the three assets that we just spoke about: gold, silver, and of course Bitcoin. So stop trusting paper promises that are given to you by governments or companies that are themselves dying. Rather, trust a mechanism that isn't governed by a government or a company or anyone really. With that, we come to the end of our video, and let me tell you one more thing, my friends. You do not have to be a finance genius to protect your family's future or to build a great portfolio. What you need to do is just step back, look at where millionaires and billionaires are investing, and follow their lead. There is a reason that they've managed to be rich. And other than that, just keep following, keeping up with crypto, where I break down top tech, crypto, Web3, AI, and all else that's new in the finance and tech market. And with that, we will truly end this video. And if you like this, make sure that you hit that subscribe button to give me a like, and stay safe, keep yourself informed and educated. I'll see you in the next one.